Steve Scalise is the second highest ranking Republican in the House, and he is just hours away from speaking later this evening at the Republican National Convention. He also represents the 1st District of Louisiana, where, as we reported earlier, locals are bracing for not one, but 2 tropical storms. Representative Scalise joins me now from New Orleans. Congressman Scalise, so good to see you. Thank you very much for talking with us. What do you think the main message? Absolutely. What do you think the main message should be from this Republican convention? How much of it should be about Donald Trump, and how much of it should be criticizing Joe Biden and the Democrats?
Really, Judy, I think first of all, through the week, you're going to see a vision for what we need to do to get the country back on track through COVID-19, and everybody's dealing with it all around the globe. But here in America, there are a lot of things that we're doing to, number one, help people safely reopen, whether it's businesses or schools, but also this rush towards making sure we can put all the energy of the FDA and other agencies to find a cure and a vaccine. And we're very close to some remarkable breakthroughs there. And so the president, I think really his message needs to be what he's done to deliver on the promises that he's made over the last 4 years, delivering for hardworking families. We built the greatest economy our country's ever seen just over the last 2 years. And now we're at COVID. Obviously, things are different, but who best to bring us back through that than the president who already did it?
President Trump said today at the Republican National Convention, he said he and the Republicans have always protected pre-existing conditions. But he is now, his administration is asking the Supreme Court to throw out the Affordable Care Act, which protects pre-existing conditions.
Well, the problem with the Affordable Care Act is it's not affordable. I mean, you can look and see how premiums have gone up dramatically. Millions of people lost the good health care they had. That old promise, if you like what you have, you can keep it, probably the most broken promise in the history of politics. What President Trump wants to do is focus on letting patients and doctors decide the best health care, not Washington bureaucrats, and lowering premiums while protecting pre-existing conditions. That's not happening right now. The premiums are too high, where people with pre-existing conditions even right now are paying, in some cases, $10,000 deductibles. And they can't even afford the free health care that, quote unquote, that was sold to them. So we need to focus on rebuilding and strengthening our healthcare system, giving people real options, buying across state lines, protecting people with pre-existing conditions by lowering premiums for everybody, not by raising them where everybody's paying too much.
Well, it's a much bigger subject, protecting pre-existing conditions. But my point is that that's been a central feature of the Affordable Care Act, and that's something that the Trump administration is trying to dismantle. But I want to ask you about COVID relief, Congressman Scalise. As you know, the House passed the Democrats' version of COVID relief. It was at the end of May, so it was 3 months ago. Then the Democrats offered to reduce the $3 trillion price tag to $2 trillion. The Republicans still have not passed legislation in the Senate so that the two sides can get together and work this out. This is not the way things are supposed to work in Washington, is it?
Well, I would like to see everybody at the table. And in fact, you saw Mark Meadows, the president's chief of staff, over at the Capitol just the last few days trying to meet with Speaker Pelosi, and she was too busy. She would not meet with him. I mean, when you won't sit down and meet with the president's chief of staff, you're showing you're not serious. They brought us in Saturday to do this vote on the post office, when the post office themselves have said they have enough money to get through the middle of next year. Our small businesses need help right now. Families need help and relief. We've got, Judy, over $500 billion of money that we've sent out in the CARES Act and all the relief packages that's not spent yet. Over $500 billion. I would say before we get into a negotiation of how many more trillions we give, for example, to states like New York that were already having problems beforehand, we can't be worried about bailing out states that had their own problems. We need to be worried about saving small businesses, helping schools safely reopen, making sure hospitals can get through this. That's where the focus needs to be. And for whatever reason, Speaker Pelosi won't sit down and have that conversation.
But it's
so hopefully that happens.
But in terms of the Congress, it's the House and the Senate, and the Senate has not passed legislation, so there can't be a negotiation.
Right.
That's what.
And as you know, it takes 60 votes in the Senate. So unlike the House, Speaker Pelosi can bring any bill she wants. She's brought many partisan bills that she knew would never go anywhere that she's passed. But in the Senate, even if every Republican was for a bill, because of their rules with the 60 vote requirement, Chuck Schumer and Democrats can and have blocked a lot of those bills. So it's kind of hard to bring a bill through the Senate when the minority party wants to block even a discussion about it, let alone trying to get a solution.
Two other quick things I want to ask you about, Congressman Scalise. One is QAnon. You supported the opponent to Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was running for a congressional seat in the state of Georgia. She won that race. Do you now support her and the others, even though they've made these statements in support of these conspiracy theories around QAnon?
Well, look, I had to go Google what that was when I was asked about it after she won the primary. In the end, look, I'm focused on relief packages, helping families get back. That's what the calls to my office are. It's not on QAnon. I mean, look, there's real major domestic terrorist groups like Antifa out there. I don't hear the other side trying to be asked about whether or not they endorse or oppose that. But at the end of the day, it's the voters of Georgia that are going to decide that race, just like in any election.
I understand that, and we do report on the activities of groups like Antifa. But are you saying that you would welcome to the House candidates who have spoken out, who clearly anti-Black, anti-Muslim in the statements they've made in their campaigns?
Well, look, I've been very vocal, and as you mentioned, I was not supporting her in that primary. But at the end of the day, it's the people of each district that decide who their representative is. It's not me. I mean, clearly, I serve with a lot of people who have very different views today in the current Congress, whether they're Republican or Democrat. We don't all agree with each other on any given day, but you work with people and you work to solve problems. And if somebody makes inflammatory statements, racist statements, you call it out.
Finally, Congressman Scalise, these two tropical storms headed to the Gulf, potentially to the New Orleans area. What's the concern right now about these, and is Louisiana prepared?
Yes, I've been in contact with our governor, with all of the parish presidents throughout southeast Louisiana that I represent along the Gulf Coast of Mississippi. You work and prepare for the worst, but you pray for the best. And that's what we're all doing. Everybody's, I think, stepping up and getting people prepared. And people are, I think, properly taking precautions. A lot of people have evacuated the lower lying areas. And, where I am in New Orleans, in this region, we're ready to hunker down and hopefully, get through it and not have real damage.
Congressman Steve Scalise, thank you very much.
Great being with you, Judy. Thank you.